Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. So, let me ask you a question. When was the exact last time you were in a meeting, someone asked you a question, and you just completely froze? We've all been there, right? Well, today we're going to completely reframe our relationship with something that frankly scares almost all of us: the unknown. If you've ever felt that intense pressure to have all the answers, to literally map out the future perfectly, or to never ever show a single moment of doubt, then you are in the exact right place. We're going to be looking at some absolutely incredible insights from Ian Slade about what true leadership actually requires. And spoiler alert here, it's pretty much the exact opposite of what most of us have been taught. So instead of running away from uncertainty, we're going to figure out how to harness it. Let's get right into it. Okay, let's dive into this core conflict. On one side, we've got what everybody looks for, right? Absolute certainty. But on the other side, we have where great leaders actually thrive: the unknown. And this right here, this is the fundamental difference between just surviving and truly leading. Look, most people spend their entire lives trying to eliminate variables. They're trying to make the path perfectly 100% predictable. But Ian Slade's insight points out this really fascinating reality: the magic doesn't happen in the safe zone. Great leaders don't just tolerate the unknown, they actively thrive in it. They use that lack of a clear path as their ultimate advantage. Section 1. The craving for certainty. That desperate, overwhelming human need for answers. Seriously, think about that absolute chaotic panic that sets in when you're hit with a massive problem and you just do not have the answer. The emails are piling up, the whole team is staring right at you, the clock is ticking loud, and your brain is just screaming for a solid, guaranteed solution because everything feels like it's completely spinning out of control. It's this totally universal human baseline to want a perfectly mapped out spreadsheet telling us exactly what's going to happen if we take step A and step B. I mean, neurologically speaking, our brains treat uncertainty almost exactly like physical pain. It literally hurts to not know. But as the source material reveals, seeking absolute certainty is fundamentally a myth. And it's a myth that absolutely holds us back. Because when we demand certainty before we act, we just freeze. We limit our potential to only what's already known, and we shut the door on innovation entirely. Which brings us to Section 2, dropping the crystal ball. Let's dismantle some of these common misconceptions. Real leadership isn't about having a crystal ball. Somewhere along the line, we created this completely impossible, outdated standard that a leader has to be some kind of psychic. We expect leaders to somehow peer into the future, predict every single market shift, foresee every obstacle, and know exactly how the story ends before it even starts. Just think about those quarterly planning meetings where you're asked to guarantee an exact return on investment on an entirely untested, innovative initiative in a crazy volatile market. It's a total illusion. Expecting yourself to predict the unpredictable isn't a strategy, it's a guaranteed recipe for failure and burnout. It's an impossible standard that just leaves you exhausted. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how we redefine things. Real leadership is staying calm when things get messy. Just let that sink in for a moment. It's not about magically cleaning up the mess before anyone sees it. It's not about pretending the chaos isn't happening. It is entirely about your internal state. When the environment around you is completely chaotic, your power lies in remaining anchored. Staying calm when the situation is messy is the true hallmark of a leader, according to the source material. It's a completely different and frankly much more resilient kind of strength. Section 3. Admitting you don't know. This is a massive paradigm shift. For any professional, this is the ultimate turning point in our explainer today. Crossing this threshold requires stepping away from your ego to honestly say, I don't know, but we'll figure it out. That pause right there, that space is where genuine connection happens. The sheer vulnerability of looking at your team and admitting you don't have the answer completely strips away that fake corporate armor. But notice, you don't just stop at I don't know. Actually, the second half of that sentence, the but we'll figure it out part, that is where the leadership kicks right back in. It transforms a moment of individual doubt into a shared, incredibly powerful mission. Let's move to and see how this builds an incredible chain reaction. The very moment you admit you don't know, that authenticity naturally builds trust. I mean, let's be real. People trust honesty way more than they trust fake perfection. And because the leader isn't claiming to hold all the answers, it suddenly invites new ideas. It gives everybody else in the room permission to speak up. This shared uncertainty actually forces the brain to think outside the box, which sparks immense creativity that a rigid step-by-step roadmap would have just completely suffocated. And ultimately, it sparks true teamwork. You're no longer dictating from the front of the room. You are right there in the trenches together, collaborating to find the way forward. Finally, Section 4, Embracing the question marks. Forging true leaders. Think about the last time you felt completely lost in a project, or maybe even a life decision. You know, that really uncomfortable floating feeling where the ground beneath you just felt totally shaky? And this brilliantly illustrates why you have to embrace the question marks, because that is exactly where real leaders are made. The messiness, the uncertainty, the lack of a clear, easy answer, these aren't roadblocks stopping you from leading. They are literally the forging grounds of genuine leadership. Look, if everything was easy and perfectly certain, literally anyone could do it. It's precisely in the dark, right in the middle of those question marks, that your ability to stay calm and guide others is actually tested and proven. So the crucial point is perfectly summarized in these final 3 actionable directives from Ian Slade. First up, be curious. Instead of being terrified of what you don't know, approach it with an active, genuine desire to learn. Second, be bold. It takes incredible courage to step forward when you literally cannot see the destination. And finally, lead through the unknown. Now notice it says through, not around. You have to walk directly into the uncertainty alongside your team. There are absolutely no shortcuts here. As we wrap up this explainer today, I really want to leave you with this final thought. The next time you are faced with an incredibly messy situation, the next time you feel completely lost and your gut instinct is to just panic and scramble for certainty, will you instead choose to embrace the question marks? Will you use the unknown as your greatest leadership tool? Just think about how differently you're going to handle tomorrow's challenges with this entirely new mindset. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this material, and hey, keep stepping boldly into the unknown.